Hi, Reddit. My name is Lauren. I'm 28. I live in Los Angeles, though I grew up in a small town in Oregon where everyone knows everyone and gossip spreads faster than a wildfire. My story started out so cliché that I'm embarrassed. But the ending I'll be telling my grandchildren. I don't have any yet, but I'm practicing on my cat. I met Justin when I was 20. He worked for a small IT startup that rented space one floor above my college. I was studying marketing and working part-time as a barista at the cafe across the street. He came in every morning at 7:15, ordered an Americano with oat milk and 2 pieces of cinnamon toast. For a month, we only exchanged good morning and thank you. Then he left a $20 tip and a napkin with his phone number. We started dating. I was 20, he was 27. The age difference felt like a sign of maturity to me. My mom was against it. He's too old for you, Lauren. He's already had a life, and you're still a kid. I didn't listen. I thought love would conquer everything. 2 years later, we got married. The wedding was in his parents' backyard in Sacramento. 40 guests, plastic chairs, a cake his aunt baked. I wore a $300 dress from a clearance sale. He wore a rented tux. We promised each other eternity. I really believed it. The first 3 years of marriage were hard. Justin left that startup and decided to start his own. Skyhive Analytics. They did inventory automation for warehouses and small manufacturers. Boring topic, but he saw potential. I worked 2 jobs. Days at an ad agency, evenings as a hostess at a restaurant. Justin didn't bring in any money for the first year and a half. He put everything into development, servers, hiring the first programmer. I paid our rent, our food, his insurance. I even bought him a laptop on an installment plan. I didn't complain. I believed in him. I told myself, we're a team. When he makes it, we'll laugh about this time. He made it. When I was 24, his company landed its first big contract with a chain of pharmacy warehouses in Nevada. Then a second, then a third. By the time I was 25, Skyhive was valued at $4 million. By 26, $12 million. We moved into a big house in the Pasadena suburbs. White fence, 3 bedrooms, a 2-car garage. I got a German shepherd named Hector. We started talking about kids. And that's when it all went wrong. Justin changed. He was at work until midnight. When I cooked dinner, he ate on the go, never at the table. Weekends were spent with his phone glued to his ear. Sex went from rare to non-existent. I thought he was tired. I thought it was the pressure of responsibility. I brought him dinner at the office at 10 p.m. and saw him quickly close his laptop windows when I walked in. I asked, Justin, is everything okay? Are we okay? He kissed my forehead and said, everything's fine, babe. Just work. It'll get better soon. Spoiler. It didn't. It happened on a random Tuesday. Justin had left for a meeting with investors from San Francisco. I stayed home. Hector had an allergy and I needed to take him to the vet, but my car was in the shop. Justin had left his Tesla. Yes, he bought a Tesla while we still hadn't paid off the kitchen. I figured he wouldn't mind. The keys were on the nightstand. I went to the vet, then to the grocery store. On the way back, I decided to vacuum the car. Justin was a slob, always spilling chips. I started the self-service vacuum at the gas station, moved the driver's seat back, and began sweeping the crumbs out from under the mat. My hand hit something under the seat. A crumpled paper receipt. I unfolded it. A jewelry store, Tiffany & Company at the Glendale Galleria. Purchase. A silver heart bracelet. Price. $4,800. Date. March 23rd. At the bottom, a note. Return. Full amount refunded to card. The receipt was dated April 6th. I sat in the car and stared at that receipt for 15 minutes. Why would he buy a $4,800 bracelet and then return it 2 weeks later? He'd never given me anything more expensive than $500. For my birthday, I got a set of pots and pans. Not kidding. A set of pots. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I'm a marketer, an analyst. I told myself, maybe it's a gift for his mom? Or a sister? But he doesn't have a sister. He gives his mom scarves from Marshall's. Something was off. I didn't call him or make a scene. I decided to dig. That evening, he came home tired. I kissed him like always. We watched half an hour of Netflix and he fell asleep on the couch. I took his phone. It was on the coffee table, screen up. I knew the code. My birthday, 1408. Justin never changed his passwords. He thought he was too smart for anyone to risk checking. I opened his messages. Nothing. WhatsApp. Empty. Telegram? Also empty. He deleted everything. But in his photo gallery, I found a screenshot. A screenshot of an Instagram direct conversation with the account at Brooklyn_fit. The last message from him. You were amazing today. Can't wait for Friday. Her reply. Me too, babe. Bring that wine I like. I screenshotted the screenshot to my phone. Then I went into his cloud storage. Justin synced everything there. Bills, scanned documents, even his notes. In a folder called Finances, 2023, I found a PDF named rent_studio.pdf. It was a lease agreement for a studio apartment on South Grand Avenue for $1,800 a month. Term: 12 months. Renter's name: Brooklyn Morrison. He was renting an apartment for another woman. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the kitchen, petting Hector, and thought, if I cause a scene now, he'll say it's for a friend. He'll say it's business. He'll act like I'm crazy. I needed solid, ironclad proof. I found a private investigator online. Frank, a former cop from LA, with a mustache like Tom Selleck and a rate of $200 an hour. I met him at a diner in Glendale, gave him a $2,000 retainer and all the info I gathered. Mrs. Lauren, he said, chewing a burger. Prepare for the worst. Guys like your husband usually don't stop at one. I'm ready, I said. I wasn't. Frank worked for 4 days. He brought me a thick yellow folder, sat across from me, and said, I've seen a lot of shit in 30 years. But your husband is a unique specimen. Inside the folder were photos. Justin entering that studio on South Grand. Justin leaving the studio at 7 a.m., disheveled. Justin kissing a woman at the entrance. The woman, a tall blonde with long hair, athletic build. Frank had taken several clear shots of her face. Brooklyn Ann Morrison, 27. Fitness trainer. Former University of Arizona cheerleader. But that wasn't all. Frank had tracked her social media accounts. On her private Instagram, he followed her via a fake account posing as a female fitness blogger. There were photos from a trip to the Bahamas in November. In one photo, a man's hand with a Rolex on the wrist. I recognized that watch. I'd given Justin that watch for our 3rd anniversary. I'd saved for it for a year and a half. The Bahamas. That same November, Justin told me he was going to a conference in Chicago. He even sent me a photo from O'Hare Airport. Now I knew it was either photoshopped or an old photo. I sat in the kitchen, looking at those photos, and I didn't cry. Something strange happened to me. Anger turned into cold. A clear, calculated cold. I realized Justin hadn't just cheated on me. He'd stolen years from me. He'd stolen my labor, the money I earned while he built his company. He was planning to leave me with nothing. Because Frank had found something else. Justin had consulted with a divorce lawyer. 3 months before I found the receipt. He was already preparing the ground. He wanted to paint me as crazy so the court would give him the house and the dog. In his phone notes, Frank had gained access via tech specialist. There was a list. Lauren, instability? Remove her from bank accounts? Transfer assets to mother? He wanted to leave me on the street. After everything I'd done for him, I decided to act, but not the way most people would. Many people advise not to confront the mistress. They say all the anger should be directed at the husband. But I'm a marketer. I know that the weakest element in any scheme is the person who doesn't know the whole scheme. I wanted to know what Brooke knew about Justin. And I wanted to understand who she was, a predator or another victim. I found her studio. She worked at a small gym in the Arcadia area. I went to her yoga class on a Saturday morning. I wore old leggings and a messy bun. I signed up as new client Lauren. She was a good instructor. Energetic, attentive. After class, she came up to me. Are you new? How did you like it? Great. You're Brooke, right? Yes. Nice to meet you. My name is Lauren. Lauren Taylor. And I'm Justin's wife. I said it quietly so no one else could hear. Brooke froze. Her face went pale so fast I was afraid she'd faint. She grabbed my elbow and whispered, "Not here. Please, go out the back." We went out to the back patio, where there were benches for smokers. She pulled out a cigarette with shaking hands, even though there was a "no smoking" sign on the building. "Did you come to kill me?" she asked. "No, I came to ask one question. Did you know he was married?" Brooke took a drag, blew out smoke, and looked at me with an expression I hadn't expected. Her eyes were filled with tears. He said you'd broken up. He said you lived in the same house with an ex-girlfriend because you shared the dog. He said you were emotionally unstable and he was afraid to leave you alone because you might hurt yourself. I stayed quiet. She continued, I'm not stupid, Lauren. I know this sounds like an excuse. But I'm 27, working for minimum wage, drowning in student loans. He came into my gym, said he wanted to invest $50,000 in my studio. He seemed so generous. I believed him. I slept with him. God, that sounds so disgusting. She started crying. Real tears, with snot, with shaking shoulders. 2 weeks ago, I found your wedding photo in his wallet. With the date. You've been married 4 years. I broke up with him. I said if he didn't tell you the truth, I would. And he took back the bracelet he'd given me. Said it was a temporary gift. I gave it back. What does that make me? I remembered the receipt from the car. The bracelet returned. Now I knew the whole story. I sat down next to her on the bench. Brooke, I said, I don't blame you. He's a professional manipulator. He fooled both of us. She looked up at me. What are you going to do? I don't know yet, but I think we need to talk longer. Do you know anything about his business? About the money? She wiped her tears and looked at me with a new expression, a mix of guilt and determination. Lauren, I had to tell you something. It's serious. Brooke invited me to her studio. We sat on the floor, drank cheap beer from her fridge, and she talked. Justin used to work at my place sometimes. I mean, he'd come over, say he was tired of the office, and open his laptop. He thought I didn't understand numbers. But my mom is an accountant. I grew up on tax returns. I saw what he was doing. She showed me a photo on her phone. It was a sneaky shot of Justin's laptop screen. He went to take a shower, and I took this. It's a file called shadow_revenue_Q3, XLSX. I zoomed in. It was an Excel spreadsheet with columns for revenue, expenses, and a third column, adjustments. The adjustments were huge. They inflated the official profit by 2 or 3 times. That's not all, Brooke continued. Last week, he was on the phone with someone he called Xander. I only heard one side of the conversation, but he said, if the Horizon deal goes through, we moved $2 million to Cyprus through M Holdings. No one will check. And then, Lauren will only get what's in the official reports during the divorce. And according to those, we're losing money. She'll be left with pennies. The world stopped. I hadn't just learned about an affair. I'd learned that the man I shared a bed with was planning to steal my future. He wanted to make the company look worthless so he'd pay me minimal alimony. Then he'd ride off into the sunset with millions and his mistress. I looked at Brooke. Are you ready to help me destroy him? She didn't hesitate for a second. I hate him. Not because he lied to me. Because he made me feel cheap. Because he used my dream as bait. What do I need to do? We made a plan. Let's call it Operation Karma. Brooke would continue her relationship with Justin. But now she'd be working for me. She needed to extract information. File copies, passwords, names. I would pretend to be the perfect wife while building a legal case. I hired a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, Patty Harrison, a 62-year-old woman with red hair and a reputation as a shark. She only took cases where she could gut the cheater to the bone. The first meeting in her office cost $500. I paid cash. Honey, Patty said, looking through my evidence. You didn't just bring me an affair. You brought me a criminal case. Massive fraud. Asset concealment. And this, she pointed at the photo of the spreadsheet, is a violation of federal law. False statements to federal agencies. If we prove he lied to investors, he's looking at up to 20 years. I want him to go to prison, I said. No, Patty replied. If he goes to prison, he can't work and pay you alimony. You want him alive, healthy, and working for you until the end of his days. You want control. Prison is easy. Prison is an ending. You want him to wake up every day and remember that he owes you. Patty was right. I didn't just want revenge. I wanted power. The next 2 months were hell and simultaneously the most exciting time of my life. At home, I played my role. I cooked dinners. I smiled. I even had sex with him a couple of times, just so he wouldn't suspect. After each time, I went into the shower and cried, but I did it quietly so Hector wouldn't hear. Outside, I was a spy. Brooke passed me files through a secure cloud. She learned that the company's CFO, Xander Clark, knew everything. More than that, he was the brain behind the scheme. Justin was the face, Xander was the hands. I found Xander on Facebook. He was married, 2 kids, lived in the suburbs, played golf on weekends. The perfect facade. I decided he could either be my enemy or my weapon. I sent him an anonymous letter via physical mail. Inside was a printout of one of his chats with Justin about fake losses. No threats. Just a question, written in block letters by hand. Are you sure he'll protect you when it all falls apart? 3 days later, Xander called Justin. Brooke was there and heard the conversation. Xander was yelling. He demanded a meeting. Justin tried to calm him down, said, "It's someone's provocation." I knew the net was tightening. My biggest stroke of luck was Justin's old tablet. He'd bought a new iPad Pro and left his old Samsung Galaxy Tab in the safe in his office. I knew the safe code, 1975, his father's birth year. The tablet had nothing interesting at first glance, but I installed a file recovery app. It showed thousands of messages. Deleted, but not permanently erased. Chats with Xander on Telegram going back a year and a half. Justin wrote, "Inflate Q2 revenue by 30%, investors love growth." Xander replied, "That's risky. Auditors might ask questions." Justin, "Hire different auditors. Ones who don't ask questions." Chats with a girl named Kelsey from Our. She wrote, "Mr. Taylor, you promised me a promotion if I came to your hotel room on the business trip." "That's inappropriate." He replied, "I just wanted to discuss your career. Don't be so sensitive." And 2 weeks later, "You're fired for stealing office supplies." She, "I didn't steal anything. This is revenge for saying no." He, "Good luck filing a complaint. I have the best lawyers." I screenshotted everything. Thousands of screenshots. I filled 3 USB drives and 2 external hard drives. 1 USB went to Patty. The second to Frank. He promised he would, accidentally, show it to a contact in the DA's office. The third I hid in a safety deposit box under my mother's name. Kelsey was located through Frank. She was 19. She'd worked as an HR intern at Skyhive. She lived with her parents in Bakersfield because she couldn't find a job after being fired. Justin had given her a bad reference. She was thin, with dark circles under her eyes from insomnia and anxiety. I drove to her house. Her mother opened the door, tear-streaked. Kelsey sat on the couch, staring at the wall. "Kelsey," I said, "I'm Justin's wife. I know what he did to you. I'm not asking you to forgive me for not noticing. I'm asking you to help me punish him. Are you willing to testify?" She looked at me. Her eyes were empty. But when I showed her the screenshots of the chats where Justin threatened her, she cried. The first time, according to her mother, in 3 months. "I'm scared," she whispered. "Don't be," I said. "I've hired a lawyer. The best. He'll represent you for free. I'll pay for everything. Just tell the truth." Kelsey nodded. Now I had 3 fronts. A civil divorce suit demanding 70% of assets. Anonymous transfer of fraud evidence to the SEC. A sexual harassment lawsuit from Kelsey. I waited. I wanted to strike at the most important moment. That moment was the presentation for Horizon Ventures. Justin had been preparing for 3 months. If he got that $8 million, he'd be untouchable. He'd have money for the best lawyers, to drag out the divorce for years. I knew the date and time. May 15, 10 a.m., the conference room at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. I arrived at 9:45. I wore a black suit, red lipstick, and high heels. I looked like a woman attending a funeral. Which was accurate. There were 12 people in the conference room. Investors from Horizon, their lawyers, Justin, Xander, and a few Skyhive executives. A security guard tried to stop me. "I'm a majority shareholder," I said, showing a document Patty had prepared. "I have the right to attend any meeting concerning the company's future." The guard let me in. I walked into the room. Justin was standing by the projector, a pointer in his hand. When he saw me, he went so pale that his freckles stood out a mile away. "Lauren, what are you? This isn't the time." "Hi, honey. I brought you coffee. An Americano with oat milk. Remember how I made it for you every morning when you were nobody?" The investors stirred. One of them, a gray-bearded man, asked, "Who is this woman?" "His wife," I said loudly. "And I'm here to tell you the truth about Skyhive Analytics that Justin has been hiding from you." I pulled a folder out of my bag. Inside were printouts of shadow_revenue, the chats with Xander, and Kelsey's notarized statement. "This company is built on lies. Your $8 million will go to shell accounts in Cyprus. Your investment will be used to pay compensation to victims of sexual harassment. And your CEO is a fraud who has been inflating profits by double for 2 years. Lies. Justin screamed. She's crazy. We're in the middle of a divorce, and she's getting revenge. Then explain this, I said, unfolding a large printout of the spreadsheet. Why does your official report show $4.2 million in profit, but this file shows $1.8 million? Where is the other $2.4 million, Justin? Xander stood up. His face was gray. I don't know anything about this, he said. He made me do it. All of it. Thank you, Xander, I smiled. We'll note that. The investors exchanged glances. The fund's lawyer took the folder and started flipping through it. 5 minutes later, he looked up and said, Mr. Taylor, the deal is off. Furthermore, we will be forwarding these documents to the SEC. Justin collapsed into a chair. I walked over to him, leaned down to his ear, and whispered. You thought I was just your little helper. But you were my project. And I just shut your project the hell down. I turned and left. Not to applause, no one clapped. Everyone was in shock. But as I walked out of the hotel, I felt a mountain lift off my shoulders. The next 4 months were a legal nightmare. Justin hired 3 lawyers. The first quit after a week, saying the case was hopeless. The second asked to triple his fee. The third was from a big firm, but when Patty presented the evidence of asset concealment and fraud, he advised Justin to accept any terms. The judge in the divorce case was a 58-year-old woman who, as Patty later told me, hates men who cheat on wives who invested everything in them. I got the house in Pasadena, appraised at $1.8 million. Hector, this was a separate line item, dog as emotional support. 65% of the company's actual value. After the fraud scandal, the real value had dropped by 80%, but the patents and client base remained. I bought Justin's shares for $300,000 through my uncle, a lawyer. Now I owned 82%. 3 years of alimony, the court ruled I was entitled to compensation for supporting him during the startup years. The SEC launched an investigation. Justin was banned from holding executive positions in public companies for 7 years. He will never be a CEO again. Kelsey won her lawsuit. Justin is paying her $200,000 in installments until 2030. She's now in college studying psychology and, according to her mother, smiling again. And Brooke? Brooke opened her studio. I invested $50,000, the exact money Justin had promised but never delivered. The studio is called Phoenix Rise. She invited me to the opening. We drank champagne and laughed. She's now dating a firefighter named Mark. Mark knows the whole story and says Justin is lucky he didn't run into me in a dark alley. Justin currently works for my company. Yes, you read that right. He's an outsourced IT support consultant. His firm is a one-room LLC where he is the only employee and janitor. Skyhive hired him to maintain the old servers because he knows them better than anyone. That was my idea. He walks into the building where he once had an office with a mountain view. He passes security, who nod at him. Good morning, Mr. Lauren. His desk is now in the basement, next to the janitor's closet. A sign on the door says, external contractor. His direct supervisor is a guy named Kevin. Kevin is 24 years old. Justin hired him as an intern 5 years ago. Now Kevin gives him assignments. Justin, the printer on the 3rd floor is down. Change the cartridge. And hurry up. We have a meeting in an hour. I saw them once. Justin in a blue work shirt. I introduced a uniform for external contractors, blue, to distinguish them from employees in white. He was carrying a box of paper. His face was gray, his shoulders slumped. He tried to talk to me in the hallway. Lauren, can I have a minute? I stopped. Go ahead. I have a meeting in 5 minutes. This is inhumane. You made me work in a basement. People I hired are now my bosses. You've won. Can you stop? I looked at him. There was no remorse in his eyes. Just resentment. Just self-pity. Justin, you cheated on me. You planned to leave me with nothing. You sexually harassed a 19-year-old girl. You stole from investors. And you're asking me to stop? You haven't even apologized. You just want to make yourself feel better. He was silent. Go back to work, I said. That cartridge won't replace itself. He left. I went to my office. It's on the 5th floor, with a panoramic view of the mountains. On the wall hangs my college diploma and a photo of Hector. Now, as I write this, a year has passed. I am the chairman of the board of Sky Hive Analytics. We're profitable. I hired a new CEO, Monica, a 45-year-old woman who used to work at Microsoft. She knows my story and respects me. The employees call me Lady Boss behind my back. I like it. I go to therapy once a week. My therapist, Dr. Susanna, says I've gone from being a victim to someone who took control of her own story. I still don't know if what I did was okay. Is revenge bad? Maybe. But you know what? When I see Justin carrying boxes, I don't feel glee. I feel calm. I feel that justice exists. Not divine justice, human justice. The kind I created myself. Hector sleeps next to me every night. Brooke comes for dinner every Friday. We watch stupid comedies and eat pizza. Kelsey sent me a Christmas card. Thank you for giving me my life back. I don't plan to get married again anytime soon. I'm dating a guy named Ryan. He's an architect, very calm and caring. He knows everything about Justin and says, "You're my hero." But I'm in no rush. I want to be alone for a while first. Learn to be happy without a man's approval. Justin, by the way, tried to sue me for cruel treatment after I made him work in the basement. The same judge dismissed the case with the note. An employer has the right to determine working conditions. The complaint is without merit. Karma isn't magic. Karma is when you take a shovel and dig a pit for the person who tried to bury you. I'm not proud that I destroyed someone's life. But I am proud that I didn't let him destroy mine. Thanks for reading, Reddit. If you're in a similar situation, hire a detective, befriend the mistress, and never pay a lawyer without checking their reviews. Love you all. Take care of yourselves. And remember, even if you think you're just a girl who makes coffee, you might be the one who wins the war one day. Update. Brooke married Mark the firefighter. I was her maid of honor. At the wedding, she raised a toast to Lauren, the woman who taught me not to be afraid of ex-husbands, but to hire them. We all laughed. Justin wasn't invited. Update 2. Someone in the comments asked about the Tiffany bracelet. Yes, I found it. It was in an old jacket of Justin's that he left in the garage. I gave it to Brooke for her birthday. She wears it every day. When Justin sees her photos on social media with that bracelet, according to Kevin, it makes him sick. Kevin told me that Justin once cried in the supply closet. Kevin pretended not to notice.